Hello and welcome to another mod showcase. Today is another subscriber requested video. I have a viewer who is holding off from upgrading his armor to the top sets, as afterwards there's just nowhere to go. Now before I begin this, I have to explain a flaw in Skyrim's system. Well, it's kind of a flaw when it comes to top level armors. Skyrim's armors actually max out at 567 or 80% damage resistance, which most armors can hit quite comfortably, especially if you have the right potions, enchantments and just time. This essentially makes the top game armors on par with each other, which is really disappointing. Stalharim actually has a leg up due to its intrinsic synergy with ice, or Dragonbone as it's lighter than Daedric, but really Stalharim is actually the top armor. So what I've decided to do is work on a way to overhaul the armor in Skyrim, effectively giving you a new way to play the game each time, and a way to bring more armors up to that top tier quality, or even better dependent on the situation. With all that being said, let's begin. So to start with, if you want a way to make all of the armors useful, I would point you towards Kai or Know Your Enemy. Specifically the armor plugin, as this will add resistances and weaknesses to your armor sets. I have talked about this before, but there is no better way to shake up all of the armors and give you a reason to switch than Know Your Enemy. A quick example before I move on to armor mods like I was asked for. We have Iron Armor. This armor gains some extreme strengths to arrows and blades, taking only a quarter of damage from either. It is however weak to fire, taking 1 1/4 damage from fire spells and enchantments. The game world will have books added in that further explain these traits and resistances. They're usually sold by blacksmiths, so keep your eyes out for those. And just so you're aware, these effects will not just work on your armors, but every armor in the game, making it far tougher overall. The all-in-one version comes in at a mere 348 kilobytes, and I will leave a link to that in the description, as from there it's extremely easy to reach the plugins. The next mod I'm going to suggest is Fashions of the 4th Era, a fantastic mod made by the same people who will bring you variations. Essentially it's a much more selected version of that, adding in a ton of new armors that are mostly sets using vanilla assets. This means they'll work with your retextures, giving them even more variation. What's so brilliant about this mod is how the game now feels like it's constantly changing and adapting as people wear different stuff. No longer are we coming across clone after clone and those, "Hey, didn't I see you in a different town" kind of people. Despite its name, it deals with more than just the clothing, adding in armor sets to the game, which is always welcome. They're written into the leveled list via script as well to help fend off conflicts. Sure, you could just download variations, and I won't lie, that's probably a better mod, but it's also huge, whereas this takes up a comparatively friendly 93.5 megabytes. And an even smaller alternative than this is Armor Variance Expansion, which is 39.08 megabytes, and does a very similar job on a much smaller scale. Or you can go a little crazy like me and use both. The beauty of either of these, or even the combo, is how many variations on armor sets you'll come across. This should fill you with enough options to play the game for a further 10 times at least without seeing the same thing on everyone. Especially with how Fashions of the 4th Era will change each playthrough for specific characters. Up next is a couple of mods that go extremely well with the mods mentioned before. We have Nordwar UA's Vanilla Armor Replacer. I use the 1K version at 224.3 megabytes, and also Nordwar UA's Guard Armor Replacer Lite at 142.7 megabytes. I have done a video about these before, so I will leave that in the top corner now. What's so great about these mods is they're so different from the vanilla armors that they can change the game world enough on their own. However, with the addition of fashions and variants, you now have so many new clothes and armors for not just you but the NPCs to choose from as well. Towns, camps, the road, none of it will feel the same in the best way possible. The Guard Armor Replacer is a staple in so many modders lists because it just feels and looks so right. Since the first time I used it, it hasn't been out of my list, and I imagine I'm not the only one who'd say that. Everything on offer from Nordwar is of the highest quality, and I have on many occasions bought this modder up as the quality deserves to be recognised. Nothing that's offered is offensive to the vanilla style of the game, and it fits in really nicely as replacements or additions. You can also throw in elaborate textiles alternate for a further 66.2 megabytes, which does work wonders in making sure the clothes are also up to the standard you've just reached. Again, these retextures take effect on fashions, many variations, making this mod even more worthwhile. These mods are so well optimized, you can even notice stability bumps. So we've changed how the armors behave, how many there are, how many variations of each of those there are, and what they look like. And as a shocker, it's actually come to less than Old Kingdom, which is a pretty nice bonus right there. Now I'm going to throw out some suggestions and totally destroy that balance. Firstly, Midian-born armors and weapons. I use the 1k version and I think that's plenty good enough. Cheaper than Old Kingdom armors and weapons and does the exact same job or close enough. It also works really well with the mods listed above to bring out their quality. You can also search up mod authors like Billy Rowe, Zero Frost or Nordwar UA to throw even more into that mix. Next episode I plan on talking about some of my favourite solo armors and weapons, but afterwards I will be right back to subscriber requested mods, so remember to sub and comment with what you'd like to see. If this has helped, I do of course also appreciate likes. Other than that though, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.